would like to share with you my journey into another world. A world full of myth, traditions, but also challenges and hidden potentials. A journey that taught me the strength and power of tradition and culture to deliver solutions for the future. And the story starts in Marrakesh. In 2007, my husband and I, coming from a marketing background, decided to create a place of inspiration in Marrakesh. Marrakesh itself is a place of inspiration. It's full of sensual intensity, amazing colors, smells, and also storytellers. And our idea was to create a place for people together to think about the future in an environment that is already stimulating creativity and allows a transformative experience. An environment where you have to forget what you have learned in your life to find a way out of the labyrinth. And Marrakesh as well is a place full of contradictions and thought-provoking images. It's a clash of two worlds, of tradition and modernity, of poverty and luxury, and they coexist quite peacefully next to each other. So, well, when I came there, I had no idea what to expect. The only thing I knew is it is French speaking, and my French is pitiful. So, well, we bought an old riad in a very authentic part of the Medina, and our idea was to renovate it like it was built 200 years before, so without using electric tools. Therefore, we were looking for old craftsmen who still knew how to work without electricity. And here you can see what they accomplished. Well, for me, coming on the construction site the first time and meeting the old craftsmen, it was quite magic, because I became instantly invisible. Because out of respect for my husband, they didn't even look at me. And although I respected the culture and the traditions, it was quite hard to accept that you don't exist. So I thought about tactics, how to, well, get their attention. And my first idea was, well, coming from the project planning background, I create checklists and milestone plannings so that they can organize the construction and the logistics much easier. I don't have to say that that wasn't a very good idea, and the plans were actually quite useless. So I started rethinking and started to watch, and actually I realized it's maybe not a good idea to come in another culture and to think you can learn something to them, but maybe you start to learn from them first. And there is something else that works all over the world, which is make people laugh. So I showed them my respect and admiration for their work in a very positive way, and I started to smile and making funny faces. And at the end, we had a lot of fun together. And in this process, they started to open up, and they started telling me also about their challenges and fears, that they don't earn enough money to support their family, that craftsmanship is not very well respected, that their children don't learn their crafts anymore because they don't see a perspective for their future. At the same time, I got an old shukara, an old Berber bag, from my husband as a gift. And I fell in love with it instantly, and I took it everywhere. So I also took it to the construction, and the craftsmen were like, hey, my dad had one of those. This is beautiful, and this is one of the crafts that's actually about to die out. And obviously, I also took it to our world, back to Berlin. And all my friends were like, wow, this is a really cool bag. Can you bring me one too? Okay, and then it started to turn in my head. And I thought, well, all this knowledge and all these skills, they're actually getting lost. The people there, they can't support their families. And in our world, people actually love these things. So it just needs somebody to bring these two worlds together. So I thought, what if we could revive the traditional skills and educate women, young women and men, and give them a perspective? What if we would bring in some modern designers to make craftsmanship fashionable? And what if we would create a model behind that shares the profit and also supports community and education projects? I already told you that I love plans, so I started drawing an idea on a paper, which started like, okay, there are still some old vintage bags. Why don't we take them, sell them, create a foundation, and build some schools? Then we bring in some modern designers working with the old craftsmen, develop new products, and the products will be produced by the women that attended the school. And then we sell it here in our world and give the money back to do community projects. So far, so good. Now I needed proof of concept. And I actually only had to convince the Moroccans that the crafts and the tradition that they think is not worth anything is actually a power to shape their future. So I found a Moroccan partner who introduced me to some village heads. So we went there, we had tea, we had a huge meal because hospitality is very important in Morocco. And I started talking to them and told them about the idea of collaboration. And I didn't know what to expect, but I thought bringing in an idea that gives them the opportunity to make money would make the negotiations easy. But they actually weren't really impressed. And they smiled at me when I told them that I love their culture and their tradition, because for them it wasn't worth anything. So I was quite frustrated, but they invited me to come again. So that is what I did. I went again. And they showed me around, and we were talking again. And I went there again. And I realized that it was about to get to know each other. It was about building trust, building respect, because actually their border to cross was much bigger than mine. And so in this process of 1.5 years, it taught me the humility to listen and also the patience to wait. And finally, after 1.5 years, the head of the village was standing in front of me and saying, okay, well, now you have convinced us and we do it. And I was like, okay, cool. So let's prepare a contract. And he looked at me and he was giving me his hand and he's like, my hand is the most valuable thing I have. If it's not good enough, we can't work together. So I took his hand, and I was immensely insecure. But I listened to my heart, and it told me, well, if they trust you, why don't you trust them? So we started, and I started creating the foundation, selling the first old bags, and we built a school. And the idea was to give them local ownership. So we gave them a microcredit and guaranteed that we rent the school so that they can repay the credit, and in a long-term perspective, it's theirs, so that they can take the responsibility and ownership. So we started to ask women to apply for the school. And within 1 week, we had over 100 applications from all over the area, which was great and a huge success, but at the same time, it was a huge problem because I only had 20 spaces. So another sleepless night came up. But then talking to the people there, it was actually quite easy because it's a very hierarchical system. And the village community decided who is the family most in need, women with the best potential and so on. So they decided very easily who would be the 20 who start and the 20 and other 20 who would be in the waiting list. So then here on the right you can see Yannick, a French designer who came in to work with the old craftsmen to design new forms, but he learned how to arrange the old traditional pattern on the new forms. And our first product was an iPad bag, because for me it's like the perfect connection between the two worlds. It is an old traditional craft that is about to die out, that actually protects our modern world gadget. And it takes about 2 to 3 days to produce by hand one of these iPad bags, and I think it doesn't take much longer to create an iPad. So this is good. But then the whole thing only can be sustainable if you also sell the bags. And people don't buy a bag because it is doing good. Ethics is not a USP. People buy a bag because it's unique or fascinating, because they love the style. So it is about to create a brand. And I very strongly believe that social brands have to be built like consumer brands, with the thing that we don't have enough money to create such a brand. So it's about to find people who share the passion and the idea. And it was amazing how many people dedicated their time and their expertise to help to get this thing done and to create desire. And well, to put it in very simple words, our mission is we want to make social sexy. And after only 1 year, we have started to support the building of a well, and we have started a library for children in the school. And for next year, we have decided, together with the community, because it's their money, that we bring in a teacher who also teaches the women how to read and write. Because in Morocco, one of the biggest problems is illiteracy with women. So it's still over 50% of women who are illiterate. And without, well, it's the basis of everything to find work and so on. So this will be our next mission. And then it's not only about money. The next thing I learned, well, we bring everything back. So we share all the articles, the photos, the successes, whatever, with them. So they have a look, because they still don't believe me that actually over here we love their bags. They can't imagine that it's actually that we like it. So, and here I've learned one thing that Jacqueline Novogratz already said in another TED Talk, which is dignity is more important to the human spirit than wealth. Money is very important to, well, have the basis of living, but then people want to be heard. And with boosting their pride, you also boost their self-confidence. And with the self-confidence starts activity. And with activity, it starts development. And they learn that they can actually shape their future with their own hands. And then also I learned something, which was enjoy the moment, calm down, and share happy moments together. And I want to finish with my favorite quote, which is, "Tradition is not to preserve the ashes, but to pass on the flame." I think there are a lot of cultures all over the world and communities, and also here in our world, many hidden flames that we only have to dig out and take them and put them on on a shelf and to promote them so that they can deliver a perspective and something beautiful for the future. And so with all this experience, we start now also to talk to other communities in the world that we can implement the same model, and so that all over the world we can actually start these little flames coming up. Thank you.